So you want to know how to draw a decomposing human body. Well, you clicked on the right video for doing that. And if you're not sure if you want to draw a human decomposing body and you're sort of on the fence about it, well, here's just a couple practical uses I can think of right off the top of my head. You got your gritty crime thriller, you do an illustration or storyboard or something for a gritty crime thriller movie. You can draw the crime scene, the dead body, CSI stuff. You can do makeup design for dead bodies, cadavers. Of course, any horror movie, you need to know how to draw dead bodies. And of course, who can forget? Zombies. Zombies are here to stay. If you know how to draw a decomposing human body correctly, not only will it look authentic, but the people who know the different stages of decomposition, they will know that you are doing it correctly. There's many different factors that affect the rate of decomposition and how a body decomposes. For example, the geographical area greatly affects how a body decomposes and the rate of the decomposition. Weather conditions play a big role, whether it's hot or cold, or if it was raining, or if it snowed. Burial is also a factor, whether it was buried in a shallow grave, whether it was indoors, or whether it was found in dirt, non-dirt, so on and so forth. Whether it was found in the desert, in a snowy tundra, underwater, like in a lake or a creek, a rainforest, these things matter. Also, factors like the age and the weight and the height of the body, that plays a big role in human decomposition. Lastly, the cause of death can also affect the rate of decomposition as well. Now, for human decomposition, there are 5 different stages. The first stage being the fresh state. The fresh state begins immediately after death. The heart stops pumping blood through the body, and this causes the blood to accumulate in the lower regions of the body, depending on how the body is positioned and the way gravity is pulling the weight down. That's where the blood accumulates. And this is called livor mortis. What it does is it causes sort of a bluish-purple discoloration in the skin. And also, there's something called rigor mortis, which I think many more people are familiar with what rigor mortis is than livor mortis. Basically, within a few hours of death, the muscles, they can no longer relax, and they stiffen up, and the body becomes stiff, and hard to move the muscles, hard to move the different joints because the muscles have stiffened up. And also, the last thing that's worth noting in the fresh state is that immediately after the person dies, the body begins to lose its body heat. This creates an overall cooling effect, which is called algor mortis. As far as what to look for when you're drawing a body in the fresh state, there really isn't that much. It's not far along enough in the decomposition process to really see the body break down. If anything, you might see some skin blisters on the surface of the skin caused by autolysis. One thing to take note of if you're going to try to indicate a body in that stage of decomposition, the fresh state is when flies first start to arrive at the body, and that's when they lay their eggs. They basically lay their eggs so that their young can hatch and then feed off of the body, and more on that later. The next stage of decomposition is called the bloat stage, and this is where there's the first clear signs of decomposition. One of the big things that happen during this stage is that bacteria starts building throughout the body, and through an anaerobic metabolism, it starts to release gases from the inside of the body. And at first, the gases escape through the natural orifices of the body, but eventually the gas builds up so much that it actually expands the skin, and thus that's why it's called the bloat stage, because the gases are just pushing the skin out, causing the body to physically bloat. And eventually, what happens is the skin ruptures and creates different ruptures throughout the skin where gas escapes. This is going to cause sort of a marbled look in the skin. It doesn't look very nice. Like I said, this is when the body first starts to really look like it's decomposing. Not only does the skin expand, the skin rupture, and also has this sort of marbled appearance. Later on in the bloat stage, the skin actually starts to turn black. The eggs that were laid by the flies in the fresh state will have hatched, and then maggots will come out. And when the maggots start feeding on the skin, that's what's going to cause hair to fall out and the skin to start slipping off. Things to look for when drawing this are obviously the bloated appearance of the body, the ruptures in the skin, the discoloration of the skin, whether it's marbled or begins to turn black. And if you're going to draw a detailed enough drawing, you would want to make sure you see the masses of maggots either inside of the body or on the surface eating their way inside. Now, the next stage of decomposition after bloat is called active decay. And active decay is classified as the stage of decomposition with the most loss of mass. This is because of all the different bacteria and the bugs eating away at the body. They start eating away at the skin and the various tissues inside the body. And also, another thing that happens is the purging of fluids from the body. This purging of the fluids will happen through natural orifices or the now ruptured skin of the body due to the bloating. What this is going to start to do is it's going to sort of make this puddle of fluid around the body. It's going to turn into what's called the cadaver decomposition island. Let's say the body is in some vegetation like some grass. What's going to happen is that it's going to kill all of the different vegetation around the body. Another thing to consider is that when the gases do escape the body and create ruptures in the skin, these gases do not smell good. They're going to smell bad. So the things to look for in the active stage of decomposition, if you're going to draw it, is to be sure that the body has lost a lot of mass at this point. Lots of skin has fallen off, hair has fallen off at this point. There's probably a lot of openings that are not natural in the body. You can see inside of it because the maggots have eaten away at the tissues inside and eaten away at the skin on the exterior. If the body's been there for a while, and you're assuming it's not a zombie and walking around, there's going to be that cadaver decomposition island that surrounds the body. Okay, so now next is the advanced stage of decomposition. And basically, not much is really going on in this stage because of the incredible loss of mass during active decay. A lot of the body's materials have been either eaten away or purged out through fluids. And at this point, what you are looking at is just a body with not a whole lot left to it. There's still the skeleton and probably some tissue hanging off of some bone. Really not looking at much because the insects have also gone away. Pretty much what signals the end of active decay is when the maggots leave because they're full from eating the body, and they leave the body to pupate. And then comes the advanced stage. And because there's no bugs, there's no insect activity, the rate of decomposition slows a lot. The final stage of decomposition is the dry remains stage. Basically, all you're looking at is just a skeleton or little pieces of skin hanging off the skeleton. If there's absolutely no skin left, then it's called a skeletonized cadaver. But if there's just some skin left and it's not all bone, then it's only partially skeletonized. Just to be clear, all that remains are bones, cartilage, and perhaps some skin, some dry skin left over on the bone. At this point, the cadaver decomposition island will probably be diminishing and the vegetation surrounding the body will begin to grow back. And that is human decomposition in a nutshell. Those are the things you want to be looking out for. If you're going to be making the zombie movie or illustrate some zombie illustrations, you're going to want to really examine the different stages. That's pretty much the basics of what you need to know when illustrating a decomposing human body. I hope that was informative, and click the like and subscribe button below if you want more of this.